All right, let's get into sleepers here. We each picked two. So
Yeah.
for this exercise, we each picked two sleepers. How we define a sleeper, essentially guys that are falling outside the top 100 based on ADP. So, Barry, who are you kicking off with?
Yeah, and by the way, the other thing is I didn't want to do is, like, again, because we did my love-hate show the other day, I just wrote love-hate. Once again, available for free on NBCSports.com, rotoworld.com. Taylor Swift, by the way. Taylor Swift drinks for free. If you're wondering who drinks for free today at the happy hours, you see it there. If you read my opening story, you know.
Maybe for the year.
I'm a
she drinks
Swiftie.
free. Yes.
Everyone knows I'm a Swiftie along with my daughter, so Taylor Swift drinks for free. And I'm not going to lie to you. Pretty much every day. It's not just today. If Taylor Swift walks in, she's not buying a drink. Don't worry about that. So I didn't want to use any of the people that were on my love-hate list, right? You know, I didn't want to. I want to try to get some different names. So my first sleeper here, how about Tank Bigsby? Okay, so first off, he started the last preseason game for the Jaguars. He was used in different situations in the second preseason game. He's been used in short yardage situations. Think about how Doug Peterson has used running backs in his past. It has always been sort of a committee, and I think everyone sort of assumes because James Robinson sort of fell off, you know, and Jermichael Hasty had moments last year, but it was really the Travis Etienne show down the stretch. I think people are forgetting Tank Bigsby here, but I think there's a chance that he's immediately in a scoring role on one of the better offenses in the NFL. Like, I think when they get in close, they're going to bring in Tank Bigsby, not Travis Etienne. We like the Jaguars' offense in a pretty easy schedule. And then, oh, by the way, obviously, if Etienne, who has suffered major injuries in his short NFL career, if anything were to happen to Etienne, Tank Bigsby immediately becomes a rock-solid fantasy starter. So just a player that I like. He's getting nice buzz out of training camp. The strongest handshake I had at the end, like, he is a strong dude. He's like right.
Yes, have to be.
Right. He's like a young DK Metcalf, a young Matthew Berry in terms of just physical strength, upper body strength. Tank Bigsby.
Let's hope that Tank Bigsby doesn't walk into your Connecticut home at any point, because it could cause confusion, as we know. Do you think
we don't look anything alike. We don't look anything alike. Because he's shorter than I am. He's shorter. The height
true.
is a giveaway.
Whereas you and DK, same
DK and I are really, like, we share suits. Like, we're you know, is that my shirt, DK? No, man, it's yours. You know, we just have a lot of fun.
All those.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just literally we're both like off the rack, you know, in terms of our size. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So anyway, Tank Bigsby. Thoughts?
I like it. Listen, Tank Bigsby, somebody at Auburn last year, got no help from his offensive line. Breaks tackles, great leg drive. Doug Peterson, obviously somebody that is going to kind of spread the ball around in the backfield, I think. Sure, Etienne will get maybe the bulk of carries, but Bigsby will have a role this year as a rookie, and especially where they took him in the draft speaks volumes to what they think of him.
Yeah, he's going as running back 48 over on ESPN.
That's way too
much. So anyway,
one Etienne injury away from a massive role.
I think he will be a potentially viable flex role in 12-team or deeper leagues immediately. So I think he's going to have a 10-touch-a-game role from the start, and then I think he's got massive upside as insurance to anyone that drafts Etienne. So I think there's dual value there with Tank Bigsby, but I do think he's going to have value in a standalone role because I think they will use him in short yardage.
Yep. My first sleeper here, I'm going Rashid Shaheed, the wide receiver from the Saints that made some noise from weeks 13 to 18 last year, played 66% of the snaps over those final 5 games. Listen, I like the fit with Derek Carr. Shaheed is a guy that knows how to win down the field, averaged over 17 yards per reception last season. And I'm sorry, Jay, but my belief in Shaheed, who you can get free, I mean, his ADP is on Mars right now, is that once Michael Thomas goes down at some point of this season, I think Shaheed can be the guy across from Chris Olave in an offense under Derek Carr that could push the ball down the field.
Yeah, I'm walking back my Michael Thomas love. I spoke to someone who's a little
God.
You're not allowed to. Absolutely
That's
not.
That's all it took?
You're not allowed to.
No,
Stop
not
it.
that. I spoke to someone who's kind of plugged in with the Saints. He's like, you should walk back, Thomas.
They've been watching your content and gave you a call.
Like
That's the worst feeling in the world, by the way.
So I don't know if Michael Thomas's ankle is in a great spot. So I'm out on Michael Thomas.
Thank God they were mock
I'm in on
drafts.
Derek Carr though.
We tried. It's even allowed, Connor. I need a ruling here. I need a ruling.
So every mock draft.
I want to poll somebody. I'm going to poll this out during the commercial break. Is Jay allowed to walk back his love for Michael Thomas?
We'll
Yes
put a
or
poll.
no?
We're
should
putting
put
a poll in
up.
Roto World.
Let's put a poll. Yeah, can we get the Roto World social handle to do that as well? Please do that real quickly. I
think you're stuck with him.
Yeah, I think you might. I don't think you're allowed to walk
Fine.
it back.
I'll stay with Michael Thomas.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine.
Thank you,
Not
Jay,
happy
though,
about
for
it,
propping up my point of draft Rashid Shaheed for free,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
Literally your last pick in your draft. Take Shaheed, you might have a flex play down the road.
We've talked a lot about how Derek Carr is the perfect quarterback for Chris Olave because of how good he is throwing the ball deep. And to your point about Shaheed, like again, he caught 82. This is a great stat. 82% of his targets. He caught 82% of his targets, which is the highest catch rate for a player with an average depth of target and ADOT above 10 yards, minimum 30 targets. Like he is somebody that you can throw it to him deep. He wins down the field, and he's going to come down with the ball. I like the call, Connor, especially given how the fact that you and I have known for 3 months now that Jay's beloved Michael Thomas is not going to be a thing this year.
Last thing on Shaheed, good thing is that Derek Carr, for as uninspiring as he might be, it's a fantasy choice. He never gets hurt. He never, ever gets hurt. He plays every single game, so I think they're going to have solid quarterback play.
Would you say he's the anti-Michael Thomas?
Yes, you could describe him as such. There could be some Michael Thomas Jags vibes for me, where I jump off now and then he just goes up and puts 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. So, not sure
what's the what's the movie? Is it Unbreakable? What's the movie where it's Bruce Willis and Samuel
Jackson? Yeah, it's Unbreakable.
Unbreakable, where they're like complete opposites of each other.
Mr.
That kind of
Glass.
stuff. Yeah, Mr. Glass. Right, exactly. So it's there you go.
Yeah.
So it's that's what it is. That's Michael Thomas to Derek Carr. Exactly.
Indeed.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not a bad call. One of your better ones, Matthew. I'm going to go with Gabe Davis as my sleeper. Last year, Gabe Davis.
Thank you for reading Love Hate, by the way.
Yeah.
Gabe Davis was a love. He's on the Love Hate
I didn't
hate
get
list.
to that
So thank
part.
you very much.
There's a
Interesting.
lot of words.
Sure.
Gabe Davis was going as wide receiver 25 last year. He's going as wide receiver 44 this year. And I think the only reason for that is he had a high ankle sprain in week 2 of last season. Week 1 against the Rams, he goes 4 for 88 and a touchdown, which is great for Gabe Davis. And then he has a high ankle sprain against the Titans in week 2, and he's never right the rest of the season. And so I don't really understand why he's going 19 spots later among wide receivers, because that, I think it's just everyone is biased by the injury, and I think that he is still in the exact same position that he was last year. Maybe Dalton Kincaid cuts in a little bit more, but outside of that, I think that he has every chance to be a top 30 wide receiver.
He's certainly got the skill set. Here's a guy who led all players in average depth of target last year. 47% of his targets came on deep passes. You know, he was 6th in routes per game. There's a reason why we were so high on him going into last year. We've seen the touchdowns. We've seen how often Josh Allen looks for him when they get in close. The injury, the high ankle sprain is a real thing. He played through that. That's the thing. He only missed 1 game last year. He played through that. He was less than 100%. Yeah, I'm in on Gabe Davis as well. I like the call quite a bit because, you know, I already made it, you know, and you just, whatever, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Just go ahead. Just read my love-hate list.
That's
fine.
right. You might have my next one.
Okay, good.
All right, Barry, back to you, and I know you just love saying this name.
Chikwe Coutee. Let's get Chiggy with it.
Here we go.
Look, from weeks 12 through 18 last year, this last 7 games of the season, he was the 11th best tight end in fantasy. He played 3 games, only 3 games where he ran 15 routes, right? And he averaged over 13 fantasy points per game. He led all tight ends in yards per route run last season, 2nd in yards per target, and yards after catch per reception. And I think so he was a trendy sleeper for myself and a lot of people. And then the Titans go out and get DeAndre Hopkins, and everyone's just like, oh, I'm out on Chikwe Coutee. And his ADP starts falling. But now with this injury of Treylon Burks, there's actually a better opportunity for Coutee, and yet his ADP is low. It hasn't risen back up, even given the Burks injury. And by the way, I'm in on Hopkins this year. Like, I think he's got, you know, another good year in him, but I could be wrong. We don't know, right? I mean, so I just think that this offense, and especially given Okonkwo's ability, like, targets are earned. And so the fact that he was able to do what he was able to do on such a limited time frame, and now he's got the full tight end position to himself, like, yes, DeAndre Hopkins is going to command a bunch of targets, but with Burks hurt, I don't know. To me, I think Chikwe Coutee is somebody that, you know, is an upper tier tight end too. That with a little bit of touchdown luck, could easily be a number 1 tight end this year.
Okay, well, first
number 1 meaning a top 10 tight end.
Okay, well, if his name was Brian Davis or something nondescript, he wouldn't be on the love list. You like saying Chikwe Coutee.
I do like Chikwe Coutee. I do like saying it.
I do think there is something to the fact that their offensive line is maybe the worst in football, and I think in a way that could play to Chig a little bit just because they're not going to have any time for deep routes down the field to wide receivers. I think there's going to be a lot of short and intermediate stuff to tight ends out of necessity, and he played really well last year in his time.
I'm sticking with the tight end theme here and going with Sam LaPorta as my other sleeper. Listen, with LaPorta, this is not only based on talent, but based on landing spot. We've talked often on the show how much target love Ross St. Brown is going to get. Obviously, Jameson Williams is suspended for the first 6 games. When you look at the Lions, this is what you have to know about the tight end position for them and their offense. They scored 12 touchdowns last season. That was tied for second most. They ranked top 10 in tight end red zone targets. We've already seen it this summer. This is an offense for Jared Goff that schemes open the tight end. They use all the Ferraris around him as eye candy, and it's easy layup touchdowns in the end zone for the tight ends. That is Sam LaPorta's job to lose. He has run with the ones this entire summer. He is going as tight end 19 in drafts based on ADP. Barry, I know you have him a little higher there. I think LaPorta is, if you're out on taking a tight end early, you're out on the Kittles, the Wallers, the Mark Andrews of the world, I would just wait and take a flyer on a guy like LaPorta this year.
I talked to a team source, and, from what I understand, yes, as all expected, the passing offense goes through Amon-Ra St. Brown. But if they're throwing to somebody down the field that isn't Amon-Ra, it's going to be Sam LaPorta. Like, they've got some other tight ends there, but when he's out there, he's there to be the passing tight end, to play the Hawkinson role in this offense. And so, yes, they will use Jahmyr Gibbs, and you'll see a sprinkling of Marvin Jones and Josh Reynolds and obviously Jameson Williams when he comes back. But honestly, Sam LaPorta, for the first 6 games of the season, certainly, I think there's a very good chance he's second on the team in targets, if you don't count the running backs, among people beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yep, that makes sense to me. I'm also going with a tight end, Tyler Higbee. I'm going to read out the best players on the Los Angeles Rams.
I thought you were just going to read out what I wrote about him in my Love Hate column.
Yeah, of course. You told me not to read it, and I didn't read it.
Yeah. I don't believe any of this, by the way. At some point, do your own work is all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking, Jay Croucher.
The best players on the LA Rams, Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee might be 4th. He genuinely might be 4th. And there's outside, and in terms of who he's competing with for targets, Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell. Not scared about those guys. Not really scared about
Puka?
Not really. Not really scared about Cam Akers as a receiving threat. And last year, Tyler Higbee had 108 targets. I think just through volume, whatever happens on that team, whoever is the quarterback the second half of the season after Matthew Stafford may get hurt, which seems at this point somewhat likely, I just think that Tyler Higbee is not exciting. I don't think he's going to get a ton of touchdowns because of the team, but I think he's just going to be able to put up 5 for 65, 5 for 57, and be uninspiring, but be able to produce.
Tyler Higbee is coming off a season in which he had the 3rd highest target share, 20.9% among all tight ends, was top 5 at the position in targets, receptions, and red zone targets, and top 10 in receiving yards. Matthew Stafford's return should help stabilize that Rams offense.
So you read my
mind. See, that's what I wrote in Love Hate.
Yeah.
Available for free on NBCSports.com. I know you just came up with it independently, but I just thought I'd read to you what I wrote about Tyler Higbee.
Great months.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Me, you, DK Metcalf, all cut from the same cloth.
Pretty much. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.